2022 was a really good year for movies, in my opinion. And you can check out my top 10 favorite movies at my other video that I put out. But this video, I want to talk about the stinkers, the ones that I did not like, my worst movies that I saw this year. I saw about 90 new movies this year that came out in 2022. And out of all of them, these are my 5 least favorite. I'm only doing 5 because I like to be more positive than negative. And these felt like the 5 to really point out how bad they were anyway. My number 5 worst movie of the year is The Invitation. So this movie is about a girl who gets invited to a wedding by some long lost family member she didn't know existed. And it turns out they're vampires. That's not me spoiling it. That's the trailer spoiling that. And it did spoil it because the movie does not come out and just say that everybody is vampires until like almost the end of the movie. And so because that was really shown in the trailers and everything, really as the selling point, and really like that's the selling point of the movie. It's really disappointing and really slow because you're really just like, can we get there already? Please. I know what's happening. And even if they didn't show it in the trailers, you are guessing that that's what's going on with all the things we're talking about. It's just like, can we please get there? And then once we do finally get there, it is just like boring and slow. And I don't know, just it thinks it's so smart and it thinks it's so cool. That like she's fighting these vampires, and that she's kicking that one guy after she's kicking him into fire, and I don't know, it's just boring. It's not good. Don't watch The Invitation. My number 4 least favorite movie of the year, one of the first ones I saw actually, and it managed to stay pretty high up there. It's Moonfall. It's really, really kind of disappointing to see how far the director of Independence Day has fallen, right? Roland Emmerich is just like, I don't know, it just doesn't even feel like he's taking this seriously at all anymore. And to be fair, I don't know how you take this story seriously anyway. People are running away from the moon, right? So that's the silliness, right? They're like, oh no, the moon's coming. But they're like, oh, but the moon will help us jump over stuff. And then it turns out the moon is not just the moon. The moon is a superstructure that aliens live in. And then also like all the characters are not likable except for Michael Pena. And then I'm really sorry to spoil this, but then Michael Pena dies. And I'm like, don't kill Michael Pena. Okay, so there's 2 types of aliens in this movie, right? There's the aliens that built the moon, and they're trying to get away from the aliens that are trying to kill them. But the aliens that are trying to kill them are actually like an artificial intelligence that became self-aware and now is trying to kill all of the original alien species. But it's an artificial intelligence that's like Alexa, right? Like there's a scene literally where they're like telling the story of how this AI went bad, and it just shows like what looks like an Alexa sitting on somebody's desk, and then like parts of it fly up and then join these other parts of it and make this giant swarm, and it's like killing everybody. And at that point, it's just like, wow, this is pretty dumb. But here's the thing. It's not higher because it's funny. Like it is so bad. It's funny, but it is bad. It's inarguably bad. Yeah. I mean, I say inarguably, but you can argue anything. Hey man, maybe this is probably somebody's favorite movie. I would love to meet that person. This is their favorite movie. If Moonfall is your favorite movie, please contact me. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. My number 3 worst movie of the year is Firestarter. Zac Efron plays a guy who has superpowers, and his wife has superpowers, and they have a baby that has superpowers, and the baby can start fires. This is a remake of a movie starring Drew Barrymore, which was an adaptation of a Stephen King book. And it again is just so bad. That's not good criticism. Let's describe to you how it's bad. Well, just watch this clip right here.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
See, I feel like that clip does a good job. I don't know if there's really much more to say outside of Zac Efron. You need a new agent, dude. Like getting signed in for these movies. I know you can do better. I've seen High School Musical. I know you can do better than this. So I don't know. Not worth your time. My number 2 least favorite movie of the year is going to be Texas Chainsaw. Luckily, this was a Netflix movie. I know some people thought it was cheesy and campy enough, but to me, it just like played off as like nasty and gross, and not in the fun ways that you would hope a horror movie would be. Those things, just like a low effort. Like they bring back the girl from the first Texas Chainsaw because that's what Halloween did, and then they kill her, and it's like, it's not fun. It's a movie like this needs to be at least some kind of fun, because it's not trying to say anything. Like Texas Chainsaw is not trying to like say anything like message wise, and so if you're not trying to say anything, at least be entertaining as a movie. And there is like one scene that does play pretty good, like on the bus, but it's not good enough to save it. And so for me, this was a drag, hard to get through. Before I get to number 1, I do have a couple honorable mentions. Don't Worry, Darling was really bad. Like, you guys, I saw the trailers too. I was excited too. But Harry Styles, he struggles through this movie. Like, I don't know. It's probably because he's acting right alongside Florence Pugh, who is really, really good. And even despite everything else that's going on. But like, he just doesn't, I mean, and again, I don't know if I blame him either. Like maybe it's probably a director thing also. And so no matter what, his performance is weird and the movie is weird and leaves me asking a bunch of questions. The story makes no sense. Like it isn't something where you like learn about the twist and you're like, oh, now I get it. It's like the twists happen and then you're like, wait, but what about this? And the movie never gets around to answering it. Like as far as I understand in the logic of the movie, the heroic ending is actually like a horrific finale, whereas like our main character is not escaping. She is just gonna be like in a worse spot and die. And so yeah, not a pleasant time at this. One of the really few times at the movie where I couldn't even like, when I left the theater, I wasn't like, well, at least I went to the movies. It was really like, that was not my favorite. Clerks 3 was another one that, whew, man, just a great big bummer. I saw this movie the same day that I saw The Woman King. And I remember walking out of The Woman King being like, man, it doesn't matter how bad Clerks 3 is because we saw The Woman King. Today will be a good day at the movie theater. And at the end of Clerks 3, it did not feel like a win. It had drugged me down enough where I was like, today was a bummer at the movie theater. Especially if you've heard Kevin Smith talk about his heart attack. Watching this movie is just him telling that story, but like a fictionalized version of it, which is fine. But when he tells the exact story with all the jokes and everything in like every interview, it's like, I've heard all this before, dude. Like, this is not new. None of this is exciting. And then nobody talks or acts like real people, which has always been a Kevin Smith thing. But it's like to the nth degree now where it's just like, oh, this is almost unbearable. I don't think I laughed like twice in the whole movie. And the movie's a comedy, so it's a problem. So again, I got comments on my review for this one where people were saying like, no way, man, best Kevin Smith movie. I definitely disagree with that. I mean, Dogma exists, so this is not his best movie. And then my last honorable mention is going to be Jurassic World Dominion. I put this movie on the list specifically because it was just like the biggest disappointment. I really, really wanted to like this movie. I liked Jurassic World, like I'd say no qualifiers on that one. I liked it. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was a little bit more like, yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but I did enjoy the stuff at the end in the house with like the scary raptor. That was kind of fun. But by the time this movie hit, it's like, it's not even about dinosaurs. It's not even about dinosaurs. It's about giant bugs and clones, which people have said before, but it's true. It's like dinosaurs are inconsequential to the plot. And they just show up because they have to show up because it's a Jurassic World movie. And you could have done the entire actual story of the movie without dinosaurs at all, and it wouldn't have changed anything. So that's a problem. That's a problem when it's a Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movie. So just a big disappointment. I've seen it a few times. My kid likes it, and so I have to be careful how much I talk about this one around him. But for you guys, the honest truth, I did not like this movie. Which leaves me with my number one least favorite movie of the year, and that's going to be Rob Zombie's The Munsters. It was Halloween. Guys, it was October. Okay? Why did I watch this movie and think that maybe it would be enjoyable? It was October, man. And I wanted to watch a new movie that had like Halloween-y vibes to it. And so I put on The Munsters. It was on Netflix. It didn't cost me anything. I didn't have to drive anywhere. I did it while I was working. I had it on in the background. I was watching. It's very rare that I do that. I like to pay attention to movies when I watch them. But this movie was like, I don't even really have to pay much attention to it. It was still just so disappointing and bad. I'm not a huge Munsters fan. Like the show, like whatever. But like the sets look like they're worse than like high school play sets. Like I've been involved in building sets that look better than this. And that's saying something. The acting in it is so bad. Like I don't even know if like it feels like people are reading their lines for like the first time. I think it mostly though comes to directing stuff and like the style of it and the wipes of it. It's like it's done on a computer. Like I can do the editing for this movie. Like I could have edited this movie. That's a problem because I'm not particularly good at any kind of editing. Like I have no skills in it. I have no like training in it, but I'm watching this movie and I'm like, oh, this is a problem. If there's any movie I can warn people away from watching this year, it's this one, right? There's no redeeming stuff at all on it. Don't watch it. It's garbage. But again, hey, if you liked it, let me know because there are some people who do because it isn't sitting at like 0% on anything. And so, yeah, The Munsters. That's a bad one. But I'm happy that this worst stuff list is not like longer, right? It really was, I think, a pretty good year at the movies, and I really did enjoy a lot of the movies that I watched. And again, go over to my other video, my top 10, if you want to see what I really enjoyed this year. So, yeah, thank you so much for stopping by, supporting the channel this year and everything. And yeah, we'll see you next time.